Today I'm going to be discussing a topic which very few people have any actual working knowledge of, and that's the juvenile justice system. We're going to go over some statistics from around the country about the juvenile justice system. I'm going to explain how the process works in Kentucky, and then I'm going to go over how it varies from state to state. Some statistics about the juvenile justice system. The national arrest rate for juveniles peaked in 1994 at 500 arrests per 100,000 youths. In 2014, we hit an all-time low of 160 per 100,000 people. The national average for recidivism within youth varies somewhere between 60 and 85%. Recidivism is the amount of people who are rearrested for a crime after they've been convicted for a different one. In a survey of the nation's 40 largest countries, among those tried as adults, 64% of convicted youths received jail time. The average jail sentences for those youths was 90 months, and 62% of those youths convicted were black, which is a disproportionate number and compared to the national rate of blacks in this country. Now I'm going to explain how the system works in Kentucky specifically. The process was revised in July of 2015 with Senate Bill 200. It was revised based upon recommendations from the Federal Department of Justice. It was designed to lower what was a disproportionately high rate of recidivism and to focus more on their situation that they came from and on their background. And it was intended to also lower the incarceration rate of youths. The case is first sent to a court-designated worker who does surveys and evaluations of the youth and goes over their background, their mental health situation, and their likelihood of recurring. There's types. They are designated as one of two types of offender, either a status offender, which is a crime which you cannot commit as adult, like truancy or running away, or a public offender, which is your crimes that you can commit as an adult. Kentucky's process is they do the risk evaluation, and they're either assigned to a court-designated worker, and where it never goes to court, and they have to write essays or do community service or something to that effect, or they're sent to a circuit court who tries them through a judge, unless they're tried as an adult, and then it goes to a jury. There is a drastic amount of variation from how the youth system is handled from state to state. In places like California, probation officers completely handle youth charges with the exception of going before a judge, whereas in Kentucky there are specific court-designated workers who are trained to work with these youths and to evaluate these youths. The juvenile justice system is completely handled at the state level. There is almost no federal laws around this particular subject. This leads to a drastic difference. Oregon is largely viewed as one of the most successful states when it comes to handling their juvenile justice system. They have one of the lowest rates of recidivism, and they are lauded as doing a wonderful job in handling exactly why the youth is committing the crimes they are. Unfortunately, the statistics are very hard to narrow down to a specific amount because as many as 15 states track almost no data about their juvenile justice system, including recidivism and who commits what crimes within what races. This makes the national data very, very obscure. Many states struggle with exactly how to handle their juvenile justice system and how exactly to minimize the recidivism rate. So basically today I went over statistics, I went over how Kentucky handles it and how it's varied from state to state.